All right, what's going on, everyone? We're back. So this is the new version of how I'm doing the podcast. The very first one up is my man Keith Williams. So Keith Williams, for people who don't know you, who are you?
Sure, Rajan, thank you for having me on your podcast. I'm really excited. I appreciate that. My name is Keith Williams. I am the founder of Skill Stadium with the Skill Trades job platform. Think about LinkedIn, but for the skill trades.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
also a husband and a father of 2 children. And I enjoy reading, learning new things. And I really enjoy the sales part of doing a business. That's who I am.
Got it. Not bad. So why trades?
Why trades? The reason for the trades is that we have a shortage of workers in the skill trades. And when I want to help and give advice to people, I can guide people, especially our youth, into careers that are growing, where they're actually jobs, pay a living wage. Because we have a lot of young people who are not going to go to college. It's not the path they want to take, but they still need to make a living wage. I also realize that all of us at some point were young and needed guidance and help. So this is an opportunity for me to pay it forward and help others. In addition, I also want to help people who are not making a living wage. A lot of people who are affected by the pandemic, who work in retail and in hospitality, they're not working, a lot of them. And some of those jobs might not be coming back. So providing a platform that helps get these people into jobs that pay well is really exciting for me. In addition, it's also use video to help match the job seekers, so the people who are working in the skilled trades, with the employers, because I believe that's a better way for people to get a job.
Absolutely, man, that's incredible. So it's like funny that we're having this conversation. And so for those that know me, you guys know there's nothing scripted. It's just off the tongue, or however it flows is what you're going to get. But it's hilarious that we're having this conversation because in December, there's a nonprofit that I heard about that was doing some phenomenal work. So I live in St. Louis, Missouri, and this nonprofit's in St. Louis, and they just developed a forklift training program because they started to see a need in the St. Louis community where companies were hiring, but they couldn't get any skilled trade, any skilled labor. So they were like, okay, well, we're going to help you guys. So what you're doing is phenomenal, and so many communities could need that because I know, because I represent some businesses in the construction world, and it's crazy how the younger generation, it's almost as if like they don't think about trades as an opportunity for advancement. And there's a lot of money in trades.
It's true. And we're all affected by the trades. Rajan, I'll give you an example. If, lately it's taking longer to get plumbers out to people's homes. I've spoken to people right across the country, and it's because we don't have enough people going to plumbing. That affects you. If you have indoor plumbing, which we all have, at some point it might not work. Same thing with electrical. People can attempt to fix them if they're somewhat handy, but they need a plumber to come in. And another thing is electrical. No, you can't really fix electrical. That could kill you if you don't know what you're doing. So we're all affected by this. So that's another reason why I'm passionate about the trades. I didn't work in the skilled trades. I came up in white collar, in the technical, in the tech industry. But I get it. I understand. I also know that it pays well. And like I said, if we're gonna help guide people, especially our young people, and give them advice where they're jobs. Don't give them advice where they're not jobs. Like, how does that help someone? Hey, you can go work here. This is a good profession to go for, but there are no jobs.
Yep. And I want to touch on base on something. So anyone who's listening to this podcast and not watching the video version that we're doing, I was smiling, and then it was crazy because Keith was smiling as well. And there's something very important that he said. So you notice that he didn't grow up in the trades. He came from the tech sector of the world, but in the white collar side of it. And then he realized that there's an opportunity here. So just because you may not have the experience in a particular area does not mean that you can create a business off of that area. Very, very smart of him, because he realizes that the trades industry, they need tech. they needed tech more than ever, because especially as we keep moving into this AI generated world that's going to continue to happen, the trades really need the tech. So what he's doing, it's so smart, so smart of you to think about it this way. How so in regards to like how you could turn this idea, like what were you thinking of, like, okay, I'm a tech guy, I see the trades here. What was the idea for the platform then?
Sure. So the idea for the platform is that I wanted to make it more of like a social media platform,
Okay.
similar to, like I said, like a LinkedIn, but added to it. And here's why. Uh, Everybody nowadays has a smartphone. We all have one of these.
Of course.
Everybody has a smartphone with a camera. Everybody knows how to do a selfie and record a video. So I wanted to tap into people utilizing that technology and their strengths and talents to showcase it. So by having this platform, people do a 30-second elevator pitch, stating who they are and what they do. Listen, if you go for a job interview, you're going to have to do that. This
right.
is
Absolutely.
goes
Even helping
without
people to interview
saying.
well.
Yeah, you can't get a job unless you can say who you are and what you do. That's the most basic thing. So the other thing that the platform allows you to do is to also show yourself doing the work. Because what employers want to know is they know you can do the work. They want to know you can fit in the culture, and they want to know you can do the work. It's the most basic things that get you hired. So I focus on a platform that empowers people to do, make it easy for them. Because the feedback I got, I talk to people who are in the trades, and I talk to young people. A lot of people hate doing long applications.
Yeah.
So I made the application short.
Yeah.
I made it where you can use your creativity. Also, you stand out. If you're an employer, think about it. You've got a paper resume, you've got a profile online, or you've got somebody on video saying who they are, what they do, showing them actually doing the work. Who are you going to call? You know, we're in a show me economy. You don't get hired unless you show people you're capable of doing the work, especially in the skilled trades.
First.
Yeah, nobody's just going to hire you because you just showed up.
You're right.
It just doesn't work. You know,
people think that way too. You got to hear what my man's talking.
Yeah. So that was really the emphasis behind the platform. And also, everybody now is familiar. We have TikTok now. We have Instagram. It's not foreign for somebody to create a video. It's not something that's, well, I've never done a video. Come on. Like, everybody's taken a camera and snapped a picture or done a video. This is not something that's foreign to people. Now, the purpose is to get a job. So how important do you take your career? Wow. Is it worth 10 minutes to help you get a job? I would hope so.
Absolutely. Wow.
Right? Like, if it's going to give me an advantage, if anything that gives me an advantage to have a job, and never mind, even if you have a job, jobs aren't guaranteed.
Right.
You're not going to, if you're in your 20s or your 30s, some news for you, you're not going to retire from that job.
You're right.
It's highly unlikely.
Yeah,
there's a chance you might have to interview for another job.
So like in the corporate America days, if you can get to 10 years in corporate America, it was like you made it, because that means like you were getting to that point where you could do some things. In this economy, the way things are now, people don't hold down the same job for that long, because the industry is not designed to be that way anymore. And then especially now with people working from home and having to do this stuff right here that we're doing to be able to communicate, you gotta have some fight, and you gotta have some abilities to do some things. So man, again, kudos to you for thinking through this platform. Now, I'm a nerd. I enjoy nerdy things. It's something inside of me that I've always been that way. I love technology. Creating a media platform is a ton of work. So how in the world are you developing, and where are you at with this process? Because I can't imagine the workload involved with popping up a media platform.
Sure. So I started in March of last year, and the first developer we hired, we outsourced the developers. First one, they were based out of India, and the first one just didn't do a good job. So we had to part ways after a month. And then the second developer started up. We had a deadline of getting it complete by end of May. And unfortunately, it's been a challenge. So I had a project manager, had the relationship with the developer. And I think one of the lessons I learned was I probably, again, I take ownership in what goes right or wrong. So I
Mm-hmm.
think I didn't do as good a job maybe communicating my vision of where I want the platform to go.
Mm-hmm.
So as a result, we've had some challenges. We've hit some walls in terms of getting the platform off the ground. So what I was doing while we were having challenges with building the technical side of the platform,
Yeah.
I started focusing on the social media. So I started focusing on things I could control. So
Yep.
I started a
Smart.
podcast.
Yep.
That's something you can control.
Very smart.
I did blogs. I did day in the life videos. All of this feeds into the platform because you're creating an ecosystem where you are now bringing awareness to the platform. So
Mm-hmm.
right now, I don't have a site where somebody can go and apply for a job right now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still being booked. It's taking longer than anticipated.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did was I focused on the things I could control. And by having a podcast, I was able to build relationships with people in the skilled trades. Because when you focus on building relationships, the sales will come.
Yep. Yeah, if you don't have the relationship,
because you built that relationship.
And that's so the people that are listening to this, that's a very important thing for him talking about. So those that know me, I'm always trying to give out advice in any way that I possibly can to help others. One of the most important things is relationships. If you don't have the relationships, you're not going to really be able to move the needle, which is going to then allow you to be able to get something off the ground. You may have an idea, but without relationships, it's very hard to get that idea into an actual position. So, Keith, what are some additional relationships that you need to help you get this platform off the ground?
Sure. So I will tell you, there are kind of 4 target areas that I target. First target area is the business owners in the skilled trade. So that's a company that owns a plumbing company,
Yep.
an HVAC company, a electrical company. I also do hairdressers, barbers. So people who own those businesses, automotive. So somebody who owns an automotive business. I'm not doing every skilled trade. I'm doing about 12
Yep.
professions.
You start with ones that you know that you can manage.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the business owners. Then the other side where I'm trying to build relationships and networks are the actual users. So the actual people in the skilled trades. I go after them on Facebook. My objective is to get them to create a profile on the platform. The value for them that I say is, look, this is another place for you to be found. Mm-hmm. It's free. You're going to be able to use video to showcase your skills and talent, which is going to make your hiring process drop. The length of time that it takes you to get hired because you have video decreases. And I've learned this from the business owners because the business owners are telling me, yes, that's like a first interview for us. We can see this person talking, see social proof that they can do the job. Every business owner that I spoke to said that's as good as a first interview. A first interview means if somebody sees your video and that's a first interview, that shortens your process to getting hired.
Absolutely.
I don't know about you, but any job seeker that's looking for a job is not looking to take longer to get hired. They want to get hired quicker.
Yep.
So
everything's let's go.
We're trying to get people on the platform. And like I said, it's a cost to them. It's just educating them and making them aware of this platform. The next group that I'm targeting are partners. So that's like career coaches, the schools, because I want to be able to make this a one-stop career shop. So you have these resources on the site where you can learn about not just learn about the professions, because we have day in the life videos, but where do I go now to get the training?
Absolutely. You're focusing more on the execution side of it now.
Yes.
So I want the skill trade schools. Yeah. So I'm already thinking of a couple of ideas that you can do. One of the biggest ones is to have a campaign around the skill trades, because I think for you, the skill trades, you tapping into that group, they need you. I mean, it's they need you. They actually, as I say this, bear with me because you don't know me yet. They actually need you more than the actual businesses. And the main reason why, the skill trades are the ones that actually funnel everything to the businesses. So by getting those skill trade relationships to you, and you be able to have those connections to then be able to funnel it through, you become that conduit that they can use to keep funneling people to the trades. So the skill trade schools, man, I say do a campaign and just have fun with it, with the hashtags, get everything associated around the verbiage of your business, and just let that rock and roll. give people all the free publicity that they can get, because those skilled trades right now, I'm aware. There's a company, I'm not going to mention their name, but they're a very, very big. Well, when I say big, for a medium-sized city in the United States, they're huge. For a larger city, they may be on the smaller side. However, they have so many people that are sending in applications that are trying to do X, Y, and Z. The problem is that a lot of these applications, they get denied because they don't have the experience yet, or they don't have the abilities to actually get to the needs of the businesses. So what you're talking about is the exact platform that these skill trades need, so that they can be like, oh my goodness, here are some individuals that we can actually get them qualified. Because everything now for businesses and people that are watching this, it's speed. It's speed, but it's efficiency with that speed. It's like a boxing match. And you got to be able to pop up. You got to be able to get in and out. You got to be able to bob and weave. You got to pop over here. You got to move real quick. So what he's talking about is that he's bobbing and he's getting that head movement in. He's just trying to figure out, like, okay, which one? Skill trade for you, man. I would go all in on the skill trade schools, because they need you. The skill traders out there that are listening to this, and we're going to do a joint thing to kind of get that pushed out to them. Follow him, find him, hear what he's talking about, and see what that's going to be able to do to help you guys out. For the skill trade schools out there, what would be the not to say the departments, but the actual trades you'd want to look at first to work with them?
Sure. So I'd want to look at HVAC, plumbing, welding.
Okay.
Those are the ones that I'm really focused on. That's kind of the niche. There are definitely some others, but I would say plumbing, HVAC, and electrical.
Okay.
Because that's the bread and butter of the skill trades.
Got it. Because I was getting ready to ask why.
Later,
but
automotive.
Okay.
The reason why is that I always like to recommend professions that have a low barrier to entry, but yet have a high return. So, for example, you can become an HVAC technician in under a year, and you could start off making 50,000. Now, that's not bad if you're just getting started. That is a living wage, and we're talking about young people just getting started who might not have a family. That's getting started. It goes up from there. So, why not push people? Like if I'm recommending a profession, I'm going to recommend a profession where there are actually jobs, and jobs that pay well. So I can sit there in good conscience and say, hey, I've done the research. I've spoken to companies. This is what they say. I can Google it. I can prove it. And interviewed people in the profession. This is what they've said. So when I give advice, it's advice because I've spoken to people in the profession. They've told me that. And I always feel like that is the best data point, is to ask somebody who's actually doing the job. Or ask a business owner, hey, what do you pay? We pay this. That's real world data now. I just learned.
Yep. And that's it. And it's so funny too for me, because I love your concept, and I love the idea, and I also love the approach, because the other thing is we're in this extremely marketing digital world right now. I don't want to just say marketing, but we're in this very digital world right now. And you have a lot of individuals that are, especially when you look on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and TikTok, all the different applications out there, you see everyone's pretty much kind of pushing the youth to digital marketing. And I hate to say just the marketing word, but they really are pushing that way. What they don't realize is they're already oversaturation in the marketplace anyway. Yes. So your barrier to entry is low, but your actual return rate is also low, because the market is oversaturated with people within the digital marketing field. So
you're correct.
So youngsters out there, hear what we're talking about. Be the smart one to be able to realize that, okay, what are other low barrier entry levels, but that could have a higher return, and also guarantee you the ability of bringing home a paycheck, where with the marketing, you're quite not guaranteed a paycheck. And then you also have to buy things in order to get to that level. Where here, all you have to do is be able to utilize Keith's platform, be able to communicate with individuals that he's communicating with. You're already comfortable shooting a video, get that video up, boom. So for the parents out there, it's incredible, man. I love what you're doing. I'm trying to figure out, like, why didn't it exist? So, because there's another thing with business. There are some things that are just so like, bing, 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 bing. Why did you feel this existed before?
That's a great question. I think because people are more focused on the traditional means of getting work.
There you
So,
go.
paper resume, oh, we've always done it this way. And so what I'm doing, I think, is somewhat disruptive. But if you look at the most popular social media platform right now, I believe is TikTok.
Yep.
What is
By far.
TikTok? Video,
Mhm.
right? So what I'm trying to do is get people to redirect their energy. Nothing wrong with video, but if I'm a grown man or a grown woman, my priorities shouldn't be, and again, everybody's different, right? But my priorities should be, I should put somewhat energy and time into my career, my ability to earn a living versus entertainment. I'm not saying don't have entertainment. I'm not saying don't go on TikTok, don't go on Instagram. Go on those sites, have
Absolutely.
fun, but also invest some time in your ability to earn a living. That, if you lose your job, how important will TikTok be in your
right? Just
how important? How much time are you going to spend on TikTok and Instagram if you now have to look for a job? I'm not saying spend all your time on the skill trade job platform or on even a platform like LinkedIn, but can you spend 25, 30% on your career? So again, we focus our energy on what is a priority, and the tools are there for everybody. All I'm doing is I'm creating tools for people. And like I said, I think that we're moving into a world where the job market is competitive. Just because you apply for a job doesn't mean you're going to get the job. Doesn't mean that you're the applicant of choice. But guess what? I want to give myself every advantage I can.
Absolutely.
And I think video is definitely going to give you an advantage over a piece of paper.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I've just talked to enough business owners who've told me that, yeah, this is the case.
And it's funny because that's where I see too, because in the trades, the trades are an industry that is behind on the technology for, obvious reasons. These are individuals that are very skilled with their hands. They're very skilled with their minds, and they know how to follow this map and do X, Y, and Z to make that thing work or to build that thing. And there are some tech components associated with it, but it really never sits on the back end of the business. It usually sits on the front end, so customer facing. So they have now adopted tablets to be able to allow them to be able to be quicker with getting the POs or processing of payments out in the field. They've adopted technology to be able to get individuals in a vehicle, to get fleet operations to be able to point the vehicles where they need to be. So the trades industry has gone that part. But in regards to the back end, I don't think they've developed that form of technology yet. So your platform could be phenomenal. I'm going to be so excited to hear like the progression growth of what you're doing, because you're doing something that is a game changer. I'm so thankful for people like you to exist in this world, because you're actually a disruptor. So kudos to you for being a disruptor, man. One thing I will tell you.
I also want to mention one thing. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I just mentioned one thing about the technology. The automotive industry, they're moving. The cars are becoming computers now. So the trades are not what people think they used to be. You have to know how to code now for companies like Mercedes. I was visiting a trade school. I'm in Georgia, and this particular graduate was 19, got a job with Mercedes, making $87,000 a year. So I want to make sure I emphasize it. $87,000 a year as a 19-year-old, but he's coding, working for Mercedes. So it's not what people think it is. So I just want to let people know, especially young people who are not aware of how the skilled trades are. And that's why we do day in the life videos. So that's how you learn about it. I believe you're going to learn about a profession from someone in it. That's why we have those day in the life videos. It's the best way to learn about a profession.
Absolutely.
From somebody doing it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's where I can see from the skill trades, the day in the life videos, and then pretty much having campaigns and promotions around getting that word out. I'm going to tell you two things. The first thing that's going to happen is you're going to be approached by investors. No doubt in my mind about that. Be prepared for that. Be prepared, especially right now. The banking industry is changing. It's changing quite drastically, especially for 2021. The banks are already starting to bring in more AI technology because they have to. So people that are listening to this understand that if you're a small business and you're going into your bank looking to get a loan or a line of credit for your business, understand that if your business is one that it's harder, the bank has to put more labor into you. You may not be able to get the same loan as someone that has created a business where the bank doesn't have to do as much work. That may sound not good, but it's the truth. That's the state of the world that we're in right now. So what I'm saying that in regards to you is that the banking industry is right now is going into protection mode. So they're going into full blown, I need to be able to leverage our assets. We need to be able to create a return off of our assets and go. That's going to open up the door for angel investors and people that just have a little extra money to want to play, because they're going to be able to buy more things than maybe what banks were traditionally able to do. So the more you get your word out and doing it from a angel investment strategy, you're going to attract some, and those can be fun.
Sure.
Just make sure when you're looking at those agreements that don't go over 5. So many angel investors want to push you into over a 5-year plus term. Don't go for that. And we can have some conversations off the recording. I can explain those things to you. But a good solid 2-3 year term, you can do a lot of stuff with an angel investor, because the very first thing they're going to do is immediate capital into the business. They're not looking for a return immediately because they know the long-term investment around the strategy. But what's going to happen is you're going to be able to get developers. You're going to be able to get those certain things that are really crucial to the tech industry. They're going to come with that interest into you. And then that's where they're going to be able to be like, okay, so this may actually hit on the 3rd year. I want my money back on the 3rd year. And you just got to be ready to produce for them to get that 3 year. That's what I'm saying. 5 year, it puts you into, because even with the landscape changing in business, it's still, from a new business, it takes 5 years before you're actually hitting that consistent profit standpoint. Forget what these individuals are telling you online about you can do it. And it's not the case. If you're running a real business, it takes about 5 years. Some can do it in 3. But the majority is 5. And that's why I'm telling you with the angel investors to be careful for the 5-year terms, because if you're planning to profit in 5 years, you're not, because guess what? They fueled your business. So they're going to come in and get their money. And then you're now going to be stuck with this great product that can't stand on its own. So that's a big piece of advice I have for you. Big piece of advice.
I definitely want to talk to you offline about that.
Okay. Yeah, no problem.
I definitely want to talk to you offline about that.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that. And then for people that, how can they hear about your company? So what are different ways, like, between social media, website, how do you want people directed to you to learn about you, learn about your efforts, hear about the things that you need to actually do what you're trying to do? Help us out.
Sure. So the first place I would say is to start with the website. That's www.skillstadium, skillstadium.com, Skillstadium.
Okay.
All my social media feeds are actually on the site. So I'm on Facebook, I'm on YouTube, I'm on Instagram, even on TikTok and Twitter. So I would recommend that they subscribe to the YouTube channel and, like the Facebook and Instagram. And I'm also on LinkedIn. I also have a podcast. So if you're somebody who works in skill trades, we'd love to interview you and hear your story. And so that's a way that they can help. What I do look for is people who want to share day in the life. So people who actually work in the skill trades. I'm actually right now looking to interview welders. I'm looking to interview aircraft mechanics. I'm having a hard time finding aircraft mechanics. I'm having a hard time finding locksmiths.
Write them down. Duncan Aviators. Are we connected on LinkedIn?
Hold on.
I don't know if we're connected on LinkedIn or not, but so send me a friend request or however you want to get associated with me on LinkedIn. But Duncan Aviators is a phenomenal
write that
company.
down right now.
Yeah, they are a phenomenal company, and they're doing so much for the aviation world. And they're doing a lot with individuals of all different sizes. I really appreciate Duncan Aviators and how they're being a proper stewardship of the aviation field. They have different programs that they do. The son's getting ready to pretty much kind of take over the business. They make private jets, but they're doing so much for the aviation world aside from the one percenters that can afford private jets. So I'll get you connected with them on
Sure.
LinkedIn, and man, like you'll see what they're doing, and they may be able to be associated with some day in the life things as well. But yeah, so what else? What else could help you with your business?
I would say really sharing the content, because the big thing I'm doing now is building networks and relationships. My approach to people is not to try and sell them anything.
Of course not. Yeah, you do that. You're the relationship. You're right.
Yeah, I want to
for businesses out there
the platform.
So especially if you're a business where you're learning, he just said something very, very, very important. If you have to sell your business, you're not going about it properly. Your business pretty much sells itself. What you have to do is just put yourself in a proper position so that you can gain what you need from an exposure, from an interest level, close after that. So what he's saying is that's like a value bomb. That's probably the biggest value bomb on this podcast right now. And I'm going to make sure that we emphasize this when we get it out. What he just said, and I'm going to repeat it again because it's so big, is pretty much stop focusing on the sell. The sell's not going to get you there. Focus on the things behind that sell. Focus on the introduction to the marketplace. Let the market dictate it wants to be interested with you, and then close that bad boy once they're interested.
Yes. And I'll tell you another thing too, the way I've approached companies, I always try and offer value. So when I have a company, a business owner on my podcast, I'm going to ask them two real critical questions that I think really is beneficial to them. Why are you a place of work? Why are you a desired place to work? Why should people come and work for you?
That's right.
And are you hiring? And, what do people need to do to get employed? That's gold. I mean, that's golden for you as a business. Like, why wouldn't you want to tell everybody
right.
why you're a desired place of work, So I do that. And then, then in conversation, I get feedback from them about the platform. Hey, what do you want to see on the platform? How can we help you find people? I want to know that after they've had a meeting with me, whether it's a podcast or a day in the life interview, that they've come away with something that can help them. And
that's right.
Benefit to them. I'm not asking for anything.
That's right.
And to me, that's how you build a relationship. You give. And you know what? I don't expect anything back. If I get something back, that's gravy.
Just a bonus.
But honestly, it's, at the end of the day, what are we doing here? We're trying to help get young people in the trades, trying to help get people jobs. And I think if you don't get it, I can't really help people who don't get that, who don't get the value of helping a young person, a student, or a person who's not making a living wage. I think you either get it or you don't. Like when I approach people to do these day in the life interviews, I always ask them this question. I said, if a high school kid came to you and asked for advice, 5 minutes of your time about your profession, would you help them? I've had some people say maybe. I'm like, no, that's a polite no. If somebody's drowning, you help. You come out of the water, you let them drown. Somebody asks you for advice on your profession. Easiest thing you'll do in the day is tell an 18-year-old about what you do. It's the easiest thing. So you either are somebody who puts a value on helping people, or you don't.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's what the podcast is about. That the day in the life interviews are about that. And part of what I do with this business, providing a roadmap by having all that content in an ecosystem, is to help young people. Yeah. And I think people get it. Some people get it. Some people don't.
Yep. I love it. You know what I just thought about? Do you have a group, an online group anywhere between Facebook or LinkedIn? Well, probably
I do have
LinkedIn.
Yeah, I do have a Facebook group for Skill Stadium. It's not very active.
It's okay, but because what you're talking about now, I think some individuals would be interested in that Facebook group, because that group could actually be the engine that builds the database in order to then create the funding needed for the database to then build the platform.
Sure.
Because what could happen is inside of that group, the day in the life videos come, the exposure for individuals come, You have businesses that want to be interested in that group because they could find skill trade. That could be the platform to to get all of the kinks worked out. So then that way the developers point to that platform, point to that group to build the platform.
Yes. No, I like that. That makes sense.
Man, and then especially it's free. You're going to get more exposure there.
Yes.
And through that process of getting more exposure, you're also doing, because like I can tell, like you have a very loving personality. Like I did security the majority of my life, so I've learned to read people like real quick. You have a very loving heart, so you're not trying to get over on someone. You see a need in the system, and you're just trying to give the system what it needs. So the best place, woo-wee, I would honestly look at that group and then literally build that group up. And so in regards to your promotional content, point your promotional content to that group. Don't point it to your to your website. Point it to that group, because that's where the engagement's going to come from. See what I'm saying?
I've noticed that. You're right.
Yep. And then from that group, push them to the website.
Yes, that makes sense.
Yep.
That makes sense.
I see that.
I know I have to work. I know I have to work on the group. Definitely. No,
I can see it all day long, because then in regards to like day in the life videos, like especially businesses out here are trying to do anything that they possibly can to get their business known. So you pop up some videos outside of your group talking about like, hey, we have a skill stadium over here, and talking about what we're doing, and we'd love for you guys to get the exposure. Man, you're gonna have skill companies. They're gonna do everything they can. And then what you do is you have a promotion around, we'll do the video of the day, or the day in the life video of the day, or day in the life video of the week, and to start having fun with it. Your engagement's going to go up. Your individual traffic's going to go up. You can then point that traffic to your target audience, which is the youth, which instead of just pointing it to the youth, point it to the parents that are driving the youth right now, even though the youth don't want to admit to it, but point it to the parents and let the parents be like, hey, here's an opportunity for you to get a job, right to your group, free.
Yeah. And I do think the parents are very important, because parents will invest in their kids. Like that's the one thing they're not going to play around. I'm a parent myself, so I know
that's my
there's not a parent out there.
You do the parents, let the parents do the driving. You're good, man. I could see that traffic picking up quite a bit. You would probably want to kind of have some people on the back end ready to go to help manage it. I could see that group picking up some life real fast, especially with the day in the life videos. You got businesses in there talking about like, hey, we are looking for people. You're giving them an opportunity to pretty much say, like, here's a job. You're just being smart enough to build a platform that's going to make it easier instead of going through the group.
Yeah. And again, I think the other thing too is, you're creating an environment where people can learn from each other.
That is correct.
And like I said, there's, those day in the life videos are people who are actually working the profession.
Right. I can't wait to see them, because I like those videos. They're so heartfelt, and they're so warm, and they're so raw, and they're so real. You can't help but to be like, wow. So, and I think the most important thing, especially how a lot of the youth is so focused on like the digital flash of things. They're going to be able to show them the reality of like, you can have that flash if you want to through, hey, look what happened with Mercedes. Or, you can still have that flash, but you're not going to get there just because you want it. You got to put some work in. So I
also like the fact that
people, learn from you.
I'll tell you, I like the fact that, when the questions asked, like, what surprised you? What do you expect? I always look at it as you're getting advice from somebody. It's like going for a job, and the person who's doing the job says, hey, let me tell you what to expect. There is no substitute for that.
There is not.
There's just no substitute.
I could not imagine being someone in my younger days and being able to go to a platform of what you're talking about, and being able to actually be in this platform on my phone. Well, back then I wasn't, carrying phone. I remember I was one of the first with the flip BlackBerry.
I
I
remember
thought I
the
was the
flips.
man when I had that BlackBerry. Oh, I thought I was the man. But yeah, so like nowadays it's not like that anymore. But I still got my BlackBerry. Those who know me, I've had this BlackBerry
Oh,
forever.
wow. Does it
Yeah,
still
I
work?
can't get rid of it. It's the BlackBerry Classic 2 on that phone. But for youth now to be able to go on your phone and actually be able to hear day in the life stories of people that are in the field and be able to also understand what the dollars amounts could look like. So you would actually be able to know that, okay,
Yes.
I'm at here now, going through Keith's platform or even being associated with this group. I'm going to hear about, I could be at this point here, then I could potentially get a job here that pays X. Talking about changing the economy. Whew, man. I'm glad we met.
Yeah. 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 No, that's the game plan. To me, I look at it as a one-stop shop.
Absolutely.
The vision is you go from, I'm thinking of this profession to I can now learn about it, get guided to where I'm going to get the education, and then put up my profile and go get a job.
Yeah.
So it's literally a process that takes you from thought to actually doing the job.
Absolutely.
I just haven't seen anything out there like that.
No,
and
not especially in the trades.
Whether our economy goes up or down, people need jobs.
Absolutely.
Like this is not something that's a luxury. This is not something that you say, well, the economy's tight, so I'm going to cut back on that expense. No, this is employment.
Yeah.
This is
especially because the other thing
jobs.
that I'm seeing, because by having customers like in the actual HVAC and the construction world, they're having to hold on to the people that they get from the union halls, hold them for dear life, because unfortunately some of the new ones coming into the union hall, the work ethic isn't the same. So they're pretty much just like, you know what? These folks right here, this is what's going to allow me to take my business to the next level. So I'm telling you right now, by you getting associated with those trade schools and being able to create that platform for those trade schools to be able to see like, hey, this is what we need. Here's where you're going to be able to get to, and here's what you're going to be able to do. Man, whew, I can't wait to talk to you in some years, man.
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
I can't wait. Well, this has been an incredible episode. If there's one piece of information that you want to leave for individuals in regards to just anything, because we've talked a lot about your business, we talked a lot about, kind of just business in general. But if there's one tidbit that you want to leave for people as a final note, what would it be?
Discovery. Your ability to be found will create opportunities for you. That's the one thing. We live in a world where if people can find you, and they can see the value that you bring, it's going to create opportunities for you. You should always vie to be discoverable, because nobody comes to your house with a job. Everybody Googles, so your ability to be found, and you have control of that.
Powerful notes. And with that said, we're out. Hey, so we had already ended the podcast and we were just chatting. Keith said something that I felt was so powerful that I had to listen. Stop. We got to hit the record button again. What were you just talking about in regards to the youth?
Sure. So I feel that it's really wrong when we have young people going to college and spending money and going into debt when there's not a return. It just bothers me, because it's like, I know the road they're going down. I know what the result is going to be. And if I have the power to kind of steer them on the right path, I want to do that. I just think it's wrong. I don't think, whether it's my kid or somebody else's kid, it's wrong. If you could help a young person and you know that they're going on the wrong path, that's not a path that can give them a proper return on your investment, I think it's awful that you don't at least give them the information so they can at least make the right decision. So I'm real passionate about that. Because like I said, we were just saying, all of us have had help at some point in our group. No one is where they are without having had any help. Nobody can sit there and say, I figured it all out on my own.
I had to do something. No, you did not.
Yeah. No, you didn't. And so, to me, if you have the ability to help somebody, you should, especially our young people. And that's the one group that most of us who have experience, I believe we have an obligation to help them. you should want to do it. That's how I see it. So, I mean, again, it's a big factor that motivates me in what I do at Skill Stadium.
Man. So with that said, even though we already said something there, because I hit the record again, Skill Stadium, like incredible company, incredible man. Like find them on Facebook. Oh, the group. What we'll do in the show notes, we're gonna put the group to Skill Trade there, so you guys can follow and join the group and be a part of what's gonna be happening in that group. So with that said, now signing off.